Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we have a pretty good lineup for you guys. I think we have 3 first appearances, 7 honorable mentions, so 10 titles in all to go through. Definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearances of the week ending September 30th, 2022. First up from Marvel Comics, Marvel Voices Community number 1. This features the first appearance of Chimera. Now, we typically say it's always a good idea to pick up any first appearance of new characters in Marvel titles, and we mentioned these Marvel Voices titles before. These are one-shots that Marvel puts out that feature different diverse groups. These characters that appear in these Marvel Voices issues for the first time may go on to other title series and be introduced into the MCU in the future. We really don't know what Marvel has planned for these characters that they're introducing into these particular titles, but like I said, it's always worth picking these up for the cover price. You don't want to pay more for these later. Go ahead and grab this one here for your collection. Next up from Marvel Comics, Star Wars Dr. APHRA number 24. This features the first team appearance of the Dark Seekers. Now, like we always say, with these Star Wars titles, especially these Marvel published Star Wars titles, it's always a good idea to pick up these first appearance of new characters or these first appearance of new teams. You know, Marvel, Disney is still churning out a ton of Star Wars media, whether it's TV shows, streaming series, or feature films. So it's always a good idea to have these first appearances when they come out in the comic books, especially for the cover price. Like we always say, you don't want to try to go back and pick these up later on in the secondary market for more money. So grab them while you can at the cover price. Go ahead and pick this one here up for your collection. And finally from Boom Comics, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 100. Now this is a milestone 100th issue of this particular title. This also features the first appearance of a new character. Now we mentioned this before with these Mighty Morphin Power Rangers titles. It's always a good idea to pick up these first appearance of new characters in this title series. You know, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, incredibly popular, still has a huge fan base, huge collector base, and we see this going into the future. You know, this is the first appearance of a new character within this particular title series. We think this is a great one to pick up. Go ahead and grab this one here for your collection as well. And now for the honorable mentions. From Boom Comics, Briar number 1. This is a brutal reimagining of the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale. Now, like we always say with these small and indie press publishers, if these books get picked up an option for a small screen, big screen project, that is a big price driver for these titles. And this one here sounds like it can lend itself very well to a small screen, big screen project. You know, Boom Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up in the past, and the fact that this is a reimagining of the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale, already a really popular fairy tale everybody's familiar with, we do think this one here has strong potential to be picked up an option. In our opinion, this is worth specking on. Grab this one here for spec bet if you can. If you can't though, put on your B-list, but definitely keep an eye on this one. Next up from Image Comics, FLAWED number 1. A psychiatrist uses words to solve her patient's problems during the day, but at night she takes a more deadly approach, which results in attracting the attention of an immortal serial killer. Now once again, this one here sounds like it can lend itself very well to a small screen or big screen project, and Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up an option in the past for these streaming series, TV shows, and feature films. So in our opinion, this is another great speculative bet to pick up if you can. If you can't, though, put on your B-list, but keep an eye on this one as well. Next up from APHRA Comics, Hell is a Squared Circle. Now this is a one-shot described as a wrestling noir about a third-rate competitor trying to make ends meet in his personal life, but winding up with blood on his hands and the authorities on his heels. Now, APHRA has had a lot of their titles picked up an option for small screen and big screen projects as well, but this is a one-shot. Typically, one-shots don't really make it to be option just because there's not enough story there, but that's not to say it doesn't happen. There have been some one-shots in the past that have been picked up, and the fact that APHRA is getting some more attention on their titles, this one here does have some potential to be picked up an option, but it is a little bit more speculative than the other 2 titles we just mentioned. So this one here, keep an eye on this one here. If you can grab it, go ahead and do so at the cover price. But if you can't though, put on your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Image Comics, Old Dog number 1. On the eve of retirement, looking back at a failed career, a former CIA operative is tasked with one final mission that goes horribly wrong. Now this one here has had a lot of attention on it. A lot of people are already interested in this particular title. We do think this one here will be picked up and optioned. So this is one we do think you should definitely pick up. Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up in the past, and we do think this one here has great potential. So grab this one here for a spec bet if you can. This is one we do think you should pick up, but if you can't get them all, put it on your B-list, but definitely keep an eye on this one. Next up from Oni Comics, Pink Lemonade number 1. Now this was previously published independently through crowdfunding. Pink Lemonade is a motorcycle riding superhero starting out and finding her place in the world. Now, since this was previously published independently through crowdfunding, we do think that particular issue is the one you want to pick up for your collection. But if you didn't get that one, or if you can't find that one, this here is definitely the second best. Typically, those crowdfunded or independently published comics, they skyrocket in the secondary market. If you can grab that copy, do so. But if you can't, this one here may be worth picking up the spec on. It will be a speculative bet if you choose to pick it up. Grab this one here if you can. If you can't, put it in your B list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Dark Horse Comics, Roadie number 1. A former heavy metal roadie must return to the backroads of America to do a job he thought he had retired from, performing exorcisms, but this time it's to save his own daughter. Now, just like a few of the other publishers we mentioned earlier, Dark Horse has had a lot of their titles picked up in option in the past for small screen and big screen projects. Now, this one here does sound like it can lend itself to a TV show, streaming series, or feature film, so this one may be worth picking up the spec on. It's definitely going to be a speculative bet if you choose to pick it up, but like I said, Dark Horse has had a lot of their titles picked up in the past in option, so it may be worth doing so. So grab this one here if you can. If you can't, though, put it on your B list and take a look at it later on. And finally, from Marvel Comics, Thunderbolts number 2. This features the origin of Egro the Unbreakable. Now, like we always say with these Marvel titles, it's always good to pick up the origin stories or the first appearance of new costumes or artifacts or new powers whenever they're introduced into these Marvel titles. Disney, Marvel still churning out a ton of media, whether small screen or big screen. And anytime there's an origin story, especially in a contemporary comic, you really don't know where Marvel is going to pull the content for any of their small screen or big screen projects. So in our opinion, this one here is worth picking up at the cover price. Go ahead and grab this one here for your collection. So there you have the 10 titles that we have for you guys this week. Definitely some books in there you want to pick up for your collection. Please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.